the water companies, our privately owned water companies, which act as effective monopolies, have been told by the regulator they can charge many times the rate of inflation to help address the hideous financial mismanagement that many of them have landed themselves in. The vast majority have landed themselves in. Thames Water is the worst offender, and it is apparently lobbying government to overrule the regulator in its bid to get more cash. And by all accounts, it's something the government's got to wrestle with, because the cost of temporarily renationalising water companies could be eye-wateringly expensive. Well, one man who knows more than most on the water issue is Feargal Sharkey. He joins me now. Morning, Feargal.
Good morning, Matthew.
Lovely talking to you at this hour. Thames Water. What are they up to, Feargal? What are they up to?
Well, in reality, they're simply trying to extort, if not blackmail, the 15 million customers that they have in the Greater London area, and indeed government. You may have noticed during the week there was that incredibly petulant outburst by the whole industry, stamping their foot and demanding that if they weren't allowed to put up water bills by 40, 50, 60% in some cases, that they were going to undermine government's attempts to deal with the housing crisis and build 1.8 million houses. It's an extraordinary, arrogant thing for the industry, but even suggesting that they could hold a nation to ransom like that if we don't meet their ends, they're going to undermine the future of people being able to get a house in this country. It's an extraordinary thing.
Is it the case, though, that in something like Thames Water's case, that it may even go under? If it was to be renationalised, the argument would be that the government, and therefore the taxpayer, ends up picking up the bill anyway.
Well, that's simply not true. As it happens, there are many ways that you could nationalise the water companies tomorrow without costing the taxpayer a penny. So that is simply a rumour being spread about, predominantly by the chairman of Thames Water. Funnily enough, as it happens, I've seen him say that the parliamentarians and MPs live on national telly. Thames Water, in effect, is, in my considered opinion, actually bankrupt anyway, and it needs to be taken into special administration. The problem government has got, that then is an admission that the way the industry has been regulated for 35 years has failed. Because the only thing that makes Thames Water uninvestable was Thames Water. It was its shareholders and the regulator that have made the company unfeasible, uninvestable. So the truth is, it needs to go into special administration. I'm afraid the bondholders are going to have to take a haircut. Those companies, Thames Water's carrying £15 billion worth of debt. But here's the thing, 80% of that is owned overseas. People like the Chinese government, the South Wales, Queensland government, the Canadian government. In fact, people who own over 56% of Thames Water shares have now written off the value of those shares. They value their ownership of 56% of that company as zero, nothing, nada.
You're organising a march in October. Tell us briefly about that, Feargal.
Well, it was this price increase that I finally thought I've really, truly had enough of this. And as you know, Matthew, I find it quite difficult now to walk down the street without people stopping me and wanting to talk. I'll put it discreetly at this time of morning, talk about poo and rivers.
Yeah.
And everybody, without exception, is furious. They're unhappy. They're angry because everybody recognises we've been fleeced in all of this. So I thought, enough's enough. It's time to put a stop to it. So we are now marching for clean water. I've put together a little coalition. Well, when I say little, in the last 7 days since we announced this, there are now 250 different organisations have signed up, ranging from the RSPB, the National Trust, the Women's Institute, Surfers Against Sewage, rafts of the community groups, Clean Ilkley Campaign, the SOS Whitstable, the Save Windermere, and the simple goal is we now need to flood the streets with our fury and our anger, and it's time to let government and this industry know we've had enough. We're not taking it. You're not putting our bills up 60%. You're not putting them up 50%. You're not putting them up 40%. If they're in trouble, their shareholders have got to pay for it. It's time that we turn our own outrage into action. So October the 26th, Go to marchforcleanwater.org. You get all the details there. Bring your friends, your neighbours, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, the people from the next street over, the street over after that. And I'll see you all on October the 26th.
You will indeed. Feargal Sharkey there, the man who really has helped focus the nation's attention on the appalling state of Britain's water.